Denmark by Alan Young and Robbie Zahir. First, we're going to be looking at Denmark's capital city of Copenhagen.
Lonely sun, enough alive, sleeping naked in the night. Got to take it off my mind. Old enough to make you mine. I believe in human rights. Got to take it off my mind, off my mind. Now you've got me here to win. I see through the innocence. I know the way is getting hard, but I hold in line and wait to live. You come close just a little bit. Now everything, it seems okay. Love and feeling, I know my body cares only what you say. You know, you got me with the love and feeling, I know my body cares only what you say.
Politics. Denmark uses a constitutional monarchy. The political system in Denmark is a multi-party structure with multiple minority administrations. The Danish executive consists of a number of government departments known as ministries. These departments are led by a cabinet member and known as minister for the relevant department or portfolio. In theory, all ministers are equal and may not command or be commanded by a fellow minister. Constitutional practice does, however, dictate that the prime minister is a primus inter pares, first among equals. Unlike many other countries, Denmark has no tradition of employing junior ministers. With the implementation of the first democratic constitution of 1849, Denmark's legislature was constituted as a bicameral parliament, or Rigsdag, composed of Folketinget, a lower house of commoners, and Landstinget, an upper house containing lords, landowners, and industrialists. With, with the constitutional reform of 1953, the Landstinget was abolished, leaving only the Folketinget. The Constitutional Act of 1849 also outlined human rights and freedom of assembly. There can be several parties represented in Parliament at any one time. Some parties include the Liberals, Conservatives, Social Democrats, and the Red Green Alliance. A party does not have to be the majority party in order to have a say in the government. And since June 28th of 2015, Lars Løkke Rasmussen has been the Prime Minister, and since 1972, Margrethe Ingrid has been the Queen. Denmark is known for its social liberal welfare system, equal rights for all citizens with the highest tax rate in the world. This tax rate is necessary to fund the social liberal welfare because the money needs to come from somewhere. Economy. Denmark is a member of the European Union, or EU for short. The nation conforms within the European Union on almost all issues. Denmark is unique in that it doesn't have to adopt the euro, and it's instead allowed to use its own Danish krone. But the Danish economy does have a high dependence on foreign trade. And agriculture is intensive, with 64% of the land area being used for production. This equals production of food for 15 million people. For more than 100 years, the production of pigs and pig meat has been a major source of income in Denmark. The Danish pig industry is among the world's leaders in areas such as breeding, quality, food safety, animal welfare, and traceability, creating the basis for Denmark being among the world's largest pig meat exporters. Approximately 90% of the production is exported. This accounts for almost half of all agricultural exports and more than 5% of Denmark's total exports. Danish citizens also enjoy a relatively high standard of living, with the average household net adjusted disposable income per capita being 26,945 USD a year. Denmark also has long enjoyed a budget surplus, but in 2008 the surplus turned into a deficit where it remains to this day. The reasoning for this is the decline in the ratio of workers to retirees, which remains Denmark's biggest long-term problem. There are more people retiring in Denmark than there are workers to replace them, and this has caused a downturn in the economy. Culture. Denmark is a very egalitarian society, meaning that it doesn't really differentiate between the two genders and doesn't treat them any differently. This is reflecting the Danish language with its large variety of gender-neutral words. Over 98% of the population speak Danish, with only two small minorities speaking German and Greenlandic. The nuclear family is at the heart of the Danish society, but despite this, interestingly enough, marriage is not necessary to start a family in Danish culture. Also, the Danes have a strict set of rules and etiquettes. In a social setting, these are strictly abided by, and for example, courteous behavior is required no matter the situation. Also, there is no translation for the word please in the Danish language, and the closest translation are the words may I beg for. English profanities are also very popular amongst Danes, and children are sometimes permitted to say them as an alternative to the Danish parallels, since in Danish culture it's seen as less offensive. Geography. Located in northern Europe, Denmark is a Nordic country in Scandinavia, and it's actually the smallest country within Scandinavia. The country also consists of several islands, the largest being Zealand and Fyn. Besides the Jutland Peninsula, Denmark terrain is flat with low elevation, and the average height above sea level in Denmark is only 31 meters. The capital of the country, as you saw earlier, is Copenhagen. There's also a bridge named Riesenbroen, which links Sweden and Denmark, allowing cars and trains to pass across the Rusen Strait from Sweden's capital Malmöto to Denmark's capital Copenhagen. The connection will be entirely user-financed. Foods. Breakfast for adults is usually rye or wheat bread accompanied by coffee or tea, but children and the elderly tend to have a milk product such as oatmeal instead. Lunch for the Danes is usually a cold meal, and it's normally the most casual meal of the day, with them only eating something such as an open sandwich. Dinner, on the other hand, is the most important meal of the day, and the family usually makes an effort to gather around as a family and eat dinner together. It's traditionally called middag because dinner was formerly eaten during midday rather than during at night, of which we're accustomed to. Danish cooking originated from peasant dishes, which is why potatoes and bacon are key parts of traditional Danish cuisine. And it really wasn't until recent years that gourmet dishes and fancy dishes became very popular in Denmark. And lastly, there are the sources if one wishes to read up on Denmark on their own. I highly recommend that you read these sources if you like what you saw in the presentation.